Sawadee ka, it's Natty from the Thaiger, and you're watching Thailand Top Stories, today's major news in Thailand and around the region. Stay tuned for a quick update on the COVID-19 situation here in Thailand, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In just 3 days, fully vaccinated visitors from 46 countries will be allowed in the country without needing to quarantine. This group of so-called test-and-go travelers must have received a full schedule of approved COVID-19 vaccines and must also present a negative result from a pre-departure test using RT-PCR method. Travelers in this group must also book at least one night with a SHA Plus certified hotel upon arrival, after which another RT-PCR test will be performed. Once their RT-PCR test results come back negative, travelers will be allowed to leave the hotel and travel freely within the country. This not quite quarantine-free category also applies to travelers who have stayed in any of the 46 low-risk jurisdictions for 21 consecutive days prior to departure. There are also sandbox options for people outside the 46 countries, as well as unvaccinated travelers who are permitted to travel to Thailand, but with a 10-day quarantine stay when they arrive. All the latest details on next Monday's latest reopening milestones at thetiger.com. Officials are stepping up efforts to prevent human trafficking, following the announcement of Thailand's plan to reopen next week. Across the nation's western border, the Suresi Task Force in Kanchanaburi province is on high alert for human trafficking, with COVID-19 infections being a major concern, followed by issues ranging from drug trafficking to the smuggling of other illegal articles out of Myanmar. As the nation prepares to reopen on November 1st, the task force has increased patrol along the land border, as well as local roads accessing Kanchanaburi's city center. The government is putting together a hemp development plan to drive the domestic economy, increase farmers' revenue, and create new opportunities for the market starting 2022. The industry ministry is currently laying out a budget plan, with it targeting the development of new products in the medical sector and support for tourism. The hemp development plan's intent is to support agricultural products and establish Thailand as a key manufacturer for medical sector hemp-based products. Looking to the short term, it is forecasting hemp market value will grow to 3 trillion baht in the next 3 years, up from its present value of 800 billion baht. Although floodwaters are receding in many areas, overflows from the banks of waterways are still occurring in various locations across low-lying plains in central Thailand. But whilst those areas continue to mop up, a low-pressure area has moved into southern Vietnam and is expected to eventually cover Cambodia and Thailand before weakening and bringing increased rainfall throughout Upper Thailand. But whilst those areas continue to mop up, a low-pressure area has moved into southern Vietnam and is expected to eventually cover Cambodia and Thailand before weakening and bringing increased rainfall throughout Upper Thailand. For those living in the south, increased rainfall and heavy downpours are forecast to hit this weekend, with storms potentially triggering flash floods and forest runoff. Despite the situation improving in many areas, the National Water Command is continuing to monitor low-lying plains where riverbanks and waterways are still seeing overflow. Do take care. Turning to our neighbors. In Laos, police are investigating what the United Nations considers Asia's largest single drug bust on record, following the methamphetamine boom in Southeast Asia, particularly in Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, and Cambodia. With Thailand tightening patrols along the 2,500-kilometer-long Myanmar border due to the rise in COVID-19 cases there, organized crime changed their operations to use Laos as a main transit route for smuggling methamphetamine into Thailand. There has been an upsurge in the volume of drugs seized in Laos this year, with Wednesday's bust following 2 separate drug hauls in the same area over 1 week period. Across the 2 previous hauls, police had seized a combined 16 million amphetamine tablets. Myanmar's ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi is denying charges of incitement to cause public harm. Citing lawyers, BBC Burmese and Myanmar Now reported that Suu Kyi had denied incitement in connection with her party. publishing a letter in February calling on international organizations not to cooperate with the junta. Suu Kyi went on trial on the highly staged and politicized public rebuke last June, 4 months after she was taken into custody, and faces a raft of charges that could see her jailed for decades by the incumbent military junta. Media outlets have been barred from attending her trial, and Myanmar state news agencies have not reported on any developments in the multiple legal cases that she faces. In a rare joint appeal, the leaders of Pakistan and China are pleading to the international community to quickly send humanitarian and economic aid to Afghanistan. A government statement said Pakistan PM Imran Khan and Chinese President Xi Jinping discussed Afghanistan by phone, saying afterward that people there need international help to alleviate their suffering, prevent instability, and rebuild after the U.S. withdrew and the Taliban seized power in August. The latest development came a day after Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with the Taliban representatives in Qatar to discuss a range of issues. Pakistan wants the world community to unfreeze Afghanistan's asset to enable Kabul to use its own money in order to avert the deepening crisis. And now for a quick update on the COVID-19 situation here in Thailand. The CCSA has reported 8,968 new cases of COVID-19 with 64 new deaths. According to the latest reports, 8,747 were released from care within the past 24 hours. And that wraps up the COVID-19 update. For more news on Thailand, go to thetiger.com or check out our evening show, Thailand News Today. Have a safe and fun weekend, and I'll see you back here on Monday. สวัสดีค่ะ